Choosing a point of view is arguably one of the most important steps in writing your novel. The last thing you want to do is to get to the middle of your story and realise the point of view you've chosen isn't working. But what point of view options are there for your novel? And how do you know which is right for you? Hello everyone, and welcome back to another Writer's Rambles video. Or if you're new here, hi, I'm K.T.KAYE. I am an author and my debut fantasy novel, Red Witch, is set to be released September 30th, 2026. Pre-orders are open, so please check out the link in the description. However, I have never studied writing, nor was it ever my dream to become an author. Writing was a hobby that I enjoyed alone. I never thought it would become my job, it was simply a hobby I took up one day as I had too many daydreams to contain in my head. Because of this, I've often felt lacking. Unlike other authors who have studied the craft of writing, I found myself within a career and a community which I knew very little about. However, as my career has progressed, I have learnt. I have studied and cultivated my skills as a writer. I am still learning, still discovering new things about writing and about this industry, and I'm sure that there are other people out there, perhaps watching this video, who are like me, like to write but have never studied the art, and feel a little lost within this writing world. So I've decided to restart this series on my channel, where we uncover and learn about different aspects of writing together, and I share with you my Writer's Rambles. Today we're talking point of view. The point of view is the position in which the narrator sits in telling the story. This is arguably one of the most important decisions that you as the writer will have to make when starting writing, as the point of view of your novel dictates how the story will be told. There are 4 main point of views you can write from. Let's go through each one and hopefully this will help you pick the right one for you. First person is where the character is telling the story. I did this. It happened to me. This story is mine. Readers are watching the events unfold through the character's eyes. This way the reading automatically creates this connection between the narrator and the reader, a heightened intimacy that allows your plot points to hit and emotionally satisfy your readers. YA novels frequently use first-person narratives for that instant connection to your characters. Think Twilight. The storyteller isn't always the protagonist. They can also be the witness to the story. Think Son of Achilles. This novel is a great example actually of how a writer can mix past and present tense within a first-person narrative, but we're not going to talk too much about tenses today. First person allows each character you write to have a distinctive voice and allows readers to know their thoughts. This can be helpful if you're writing an unreliable narrator, as the story is filtered through their point of view and it can help you avoid giving too much away. However, the main problem with first person is that it's limited, especially if you only write through the eyes of one character, as your plot and what your readers know can only be what that character knows and experiences. Equally, if your reader just doesn't vibe with the character, then it doesn't matter how good your plot points are, they probably won't be able to enjoy as there's no break from that point of view. Second person is generally considered the trickiest point of view to work with. You go into the room, the story is yours. It implies that the reader is either the protagonist or a character in this story, and everything that is happening to you. Because this is such a tricky way of writing, it's not used that often. However, if you're able to craft your story in a way that this would work, then go for it. Second person is a unique and almost daring choice, and if you can pull it off, it can make for a really compelling and immersive story. Like first person, the reader is automatically pulled into the story as if they are one of the characters. But it is a difficult choice, and I've never actually read a novel in second person, so I cannot speak for how it feels to read. If any of you have read a novel in the second person, then please let me know what that book was like in the comments and how you found reading it. The last 2 point of views are both third person, however there are 2 ways in which it can be written. First, we have third person limited, where the story is told by a narrator inside of the story. He, she, they in some ways is quite similar to first person, as we're sticking with one character at a time and get to understand their thoughts and experiences. The Harry Potter series is a great example of this type of third person limited, as we go through the whole series with just Harry's point of view. However, you don't have to just focus on one character's point of view. Third person limited allows you to focus on a character's thoughts and actions for a set time, be it the entire novel or just a chapter or a scene, but it's easier to switch between characters and allow for more character points of view with third person, as you don't need to introduce which I is speaking or thinking, and instead can just directly use the character's name. We get attached to the characters and are drawn into the story, but not in the same intimate way that first person does. Third person limited is the point of view which I have used for my upcoming novel Red Witch, and as a reader it is one that I do gravitate towards, as I like that you have a chance to see more than just one character, and that the story isn't being told directly from them. Finally, there is third person omniscient, where the story is being told by a narrator outside of the story. One of my all-time favourite novels, Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen, is told with this point of view. The narrator is none of the characters, yet is able to know the thoughts of all of the characters and also pass judgment on them. With this point of view, readers have access not only to the information that the character knows and learns, but also to whatever else the narrator cares to share. This can allow for tension-building foreshadowing to be dropped in the story at any point. Lines like, "Little did they know what was coming," the readers are made aware that something is coming, something that the characters don't know. However, this style can also be confusing. If the narrator comments too much, then it can become distracting for the readers. Jane Austen's novels work because the narrator isn't constantly making comments. Austen's witty social commentaries litter the narrative, but it never takes over, and as Pride and Prejudice remains one of the most popular novels of all time, it's fair to say that when this style of third person is done well, it can be very effective. There is no correct point of view to choose for your story. As I said earlier, many YA novels use third person, but this isn't a rule. There are many examples that use third person limited or just third person. Within each genre, you can find examples of each point of view, apart from maybe second person, as it really is not that common. But hey, if you can make it work, then go for it. You're the writer, write what's comfortable for you. When deciding what point of view to use, it's important to work out which one you as a reader enjoy reading, and also which one you enjoy writing. This might not be the same, but often it is. Also, you can change your mind. It might be a real pain to re-edit and rewrite, but you can decide to change which point of view you use. If you are stuck between two options, write out the same chapter in two different points of view and see which ones you like better. Or you may even find that a mix of point of views work. First person and third person are often used together in the same novel. Discovery of Witches does this, with chapters of the protagonist in the first person for that intimacy and closeness, and the chapters from other characters written in third person limited. It can work very effectively if done well. Now, these are just my thoughts and opinions on the different types of point of views that can be used for writing. You may have different thoughts, and that's okay. We all work and write differently. Sometimes we have to uncover what doesn't work in order to find out what does. Do you have a point of view that you prefer to write in? If so, why do you like it? Do let me know in the comments below. I look forward to learning something new, and perhaps you'll be able to help out a fellow writer. Until next time, my lovely friends.